Hey, what's going on? Welcome into the fourth episode of Another Podcast with me, Jason Kucera. In this episode, you're going to meet this really handy-dandy guy named Ross Kratter. The music you just were listening to is his music from his own Ross Kratter Jazz Orchestra. It's really awesome. It's really cool. I love knowing musicians. It makes me so happy. I met Ross when we were both travel agents with a particular mega agency. We met at Walt Disney World during a agency training session, but it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. Glad I got to know him. Glad I've gotten to know him. Former New Yorker, moved down to Florida. Wise decision, but super duper guy. So I hope you really enjoy this. I'm gonna play the rest of the song that he sent me at the end of this episode. So just kind of stay tuned, and it'll be a good time. All right, dude. Well, welcome in. Thanks for being on this new podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. How is the weather where you're at? Boring intro question.
It's gorgeous, actually. It's been in the high 80s the last couple of days and sunny. As the Tim Tracker would say, not a cloud in the sky.
Nice. And do you want to tell people where you're at?
Sure, I am in Orlando, Florida.
Great place.
Yes, home of the mouse.
Home of the mouse. Yeah, a place I've been trying to get to for a very, very long time. Which I won't dive completely into the background because people would already seen that by now. But basically, the reason we met is because of the mouse.
Yep.
And so that's cool. And I try to tell people this all the time. Like, you will make friends just by interest, like Disney interest and all that stuff. And it's like, and they're pretty good friends, and things that you have an even keel on. So it's not a bad way to go.
Agreed. I mean, it's even how I met my wife. So,
do you want to dive into that one?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not, there's this Disney fans dating site called Mouse Mingle, and it
Writing
works.
that down.
It works. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been together about 5.5 years, married for 2, and she was in Texas, I was in New York, and it happened and it worked.
And so you guys, y'all got married, what, about 2 years ago?
2 years ago this past Monday.
Okay, yeah, I thought I saw your post. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And so you guys, y'all moved to Florida jointly.
Yeah.
From New York and from Texas. That's a pretty good move.
Yeah.
That's a solid move.
Very substantial.
Yeah. So I'm sure there was a lot of like trepidation, to a degree of just like, we're going all in and I hope this works,
Yeah, there was, but I think we both knew from the start it was going to work.
That's cool. Young love, man. That's great.
Absolutely. I mean, we were both in our mid-20s at the time, and yeah, it worked.
Yeah. No, and again, common interest, like a commonality, that you don't have to say, hey, what do you want to do? That's like, duh. What do you think we want to do? Like, we're gonna go and have a good time at the parks, So that's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna be checking out Mingle Mouse or Mouse Mingle.
Mouse Mingle, yes.
Mouse Mingle. That's cool.
And I will say, as you just mentioned, when we go out for meals, for example, almost always we go somewhere on Disney property because, first of all, many of the best restaurants in Orlando are on Disney property.
Yeah.
But also, it's close to us and it's great. And we'll go to the parks a fair amount. We don't go quite as often as we used to, just because we're both very, very, very busy.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do, it's always a great time, and it's always fun.
So tell me, what's the primary thing that keeps you busy? Like, I basically know, but telling the audience, what's the primary thing that you get into in and around Orlando?
Oh, sure. So I am extremely active on the music scene, both in Orlando and nationally and internationally. I like to say I am a player of low notes and a writer of all notes. So I'm a double and electric bass player, and very busy also as a a composer, arranger, orchestrator, and copyist. Um, I work with artists literally all over the world, um, getting their getting their shows ready, basically. And at the moment, well, can't really talk about that one publicly, but
That's right.
I'm working on some very big projects right now that will be very public very soon.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah, and I do perform on Disney property very regularly. I was just there last night at the Edison at Disney Springs with a wonderful band called Moxie. Um,
Moxie.
it's one of my favorite gigs that I do. I'm also a member of the best party band here in Central Florida, the Leonard Brothers Band. And I do all kinds of other freelance work, lots of jazz gigs, lots of whatever else pays the bills, really. Musical prostitution, as we say. Um, so I play sometimes with Joey Fatone from NSYNC because he's local here to Orlando, and I sub on his band, which is always a blast. Um, I do Um, as I said, literally anything else. I mean, whoever calls, if I'm available, I'll be there.
No, that's great. Yeah, I always see on your Facebook like you're staying busy all the time. You publish a schedule, and I'm just like, that's cool, man. I like that. I want to publish a schedule.
Oh,
Hey,
oh yeah,
this is when I'm available. This is when you
and
can see me.
and that's only the public events that I put up.
Yeah.
I do a lot of private events too, a lot of corporate events, a lot of weddings, all kinds of stuff. But for example, next week I have to go up to North Carolina for a gig with two former members of the Temptations, the show called
Mm,
Forever Motown. So that one is always a blast. I get to do a lot of
nice.
their shows. I do all their shows in Florida and then sporadic shows elsewhere as well. So we have one in Fort Myers coming up in a couple of weeks, and then one of the villages in September. But then, yeah, wherever else they need me, I'm there because it's one of the most fun gigs I do.
That's awesome. But speaking of Joey, I just started watching the boy band documentary on HBO, and
Oh yeah,
he's like primary lead in it. And I was just like, man, that's so cool. I haven't got very far into it, but it's such an interesting capacity, especially that it started in Orlando. Essentially, that was like the birthplace of boy bands,
it sure
um,
was. I
and
mean,
the way it went. Yeah,
NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, O Town. I mean, they're all from Orlando.
yeah.
um,
It's I guess it's like it's a high moral entertainment capital is how I put it, you know? It's not
Definitely,
Vegas. Vegas would be polar opposite, right, of Orlando, and, the Orlando area between Universal and SeaWorld and Legoland and Disney, of course, and whatever else I'm not thinking of. There's just so much, like, good family entertainment there, and boy bands were always pretty much, like, good family entertainment, they
right.
weren't singing raunchy things and, doing raunchy things,
I agree.
so yeah, it's, that's cool though, that's really cool. Um,
I mean, Orlando's just one of the best entertainment towns in the world. Um,
yeah.
for those of us who work in the business, I mean, especially on the music side of things, even though it might be a B or a C level city as far as the big tours that come through, we have the A level players here because there's so much high quality work.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's, it's like competition maybe like you just said, so, like, these A-lister entertainers, I guess, that travel the world, maybe they don't come as often because 'cause they're competing so much with what's already local. Would that be
Right.
kind of accurate?
That's definitely part of it. It's also tour routing. You can't go through Florida. You have to go in and back out. um,
True. Yeah. It's a
so
long
that's part
drive.
of it too. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can drive 7, 8 hours and still be in Florida.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like Texas, but I
yep.
think the drive's nicer in Florida, to be honest. I mean, I'll get slapped by some of my Texas brethren. I don't care.
Oh,
Um,
I agree. It's much prettier here. um,
it really is, man. It's like they're always like Texas is like a whole another place, and I'm like, well, yeah, every place is a whole another place. It's like,
yep.
what's the difference? I have to like my son goes to school in Lubbock, and my oldest, and so from Houston to Lubbock, it's like 8 or 9 hours. I'm
Right.
not doing that. And
No.
it's like I went one time, and I was like, I'll be back for your graduation. It's just like way too far. I can drive to I could be in, like, Pensacola less than 9 hours from where I live, you
Right.
know? It's like, "Sorry, buddy, I'm going that way." So, something that is part of your musical career, and I wanna we'll walk backward a little bit, but you've mentioned that you've
worked as a musician on cruise ships before.
Yeah, that was 6 years of my life. Um,
How was that?
it was very interesting. Um,
Yeah.
I started on the ships very, very young. I was 20 when I started on ships,
Okay.
and to the point that I was working on a US based ship, and all the other crew members had white crew ID cards. But because I was under 21, mine was bright yellow.
Oh,
Do not serve this guy alcohol, which is fine. I barely drink anyway, but and I
yeah.
didn't at the time. But it was hard for the agency for whom I was working even to find a company that would hire someone under 21, but they did. That was Royal Caribbean.
Okay.
Um, that very first contract I did, that was 7 months straight. Um, at 20 years old, that felt like a very long time because it is.
Yeah. No,
um,
sure. Yeah. It's a shock. Yeah.
yeah, but it was that was a really cool experience for me. I got to work with amazing entertainers from all over the world. A lot of Vegas headliners, the original Drifters, a lot of impressionists, instrumentalists,
Mm.
comedians, jugglers. There's this guy Pete Matthews who's amazing, a juggler who uses the band in his show, and I worked with him many times across my 6 years on ships. He's wonderful. He's a guy from England, um, but I've gotten to see almost the entire world, and I've gotten paid to do it.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to go. That's how I always tell people about being in the army. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got to travel, but I got paid to do it. And I always like the thing where people will sign up to do like exercise boot camp and they'll pay to do it. And I'd always say, like, well, I got paid. I got paid to I would never pay to have someone yell at me and tell me to do push-ups, like you're gonna
No.
pay me to do that. But no, that's the best way to go. You're getting paid to travel. And then I watch a lot of vloggers, like YouTube vloggers and stuff, and some of the people who work on cruise ships or have, and their accommodations are always really interesting to me. And just like that, cruise cast, I don't, not cast member, but just like employees on the cruise line,
Oh yeah.
just how they live and everything. But 7 months, it is a long time, and you're gone, and just like my son and I, we just did the Disney cruises, and I'd always talk to our stewards, and I like to get to know people, ask them where they're from, where's the next time you get to go home, and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's sacrifice, honestly. That's like a sacrifice, and especially for some folks, obviously from like Indonesia and the Philippines, is
Oh
they're
yeah.
going a long way from home. And but it seems like the pay, it's probably hit or miss. You always hear things about it not being great, but then I guess depending where you're from makes a difference.
And
For
what you negotiate.
and I would think, like, for a musician, it's probably a little better. And does your
Oh,
agency
definitely.
negotiate that for you? Okay.
Definitely, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
musicians are some of the highest, well, usually, as far as entertainment department at least, the singers and dancers are really, really highly paid, especially the singers, and the musicians are usually pretty highly paid as well.
Mhm.
Um, I loved on one of the ships I worked on, I was the musical director, so I was the manager for all the musicians on board, and I was an officer.
Wow. Right
Um,
on.
I was 24.
Wearing a uniform?
No, they didn't give me
You
one,
didn't have to?
but
Okay.
but
'Cause that's
I was a 2.5 striper. Um
right on.
And, I could, in the officer's mess, I could order a filet mignon every night if I wanted to for free. Um, and I often did.
Yeah,
Um,
right on. Yeah, you should.
but, most crew members have to share a cabin. You've
Mhm.
most likely never met the person you're going to share with.
Mhm.
That person is very likely also from a different country who has completely different customs. It's really cool. The roommate for most of my first contract on ships that I had was from Colombia,
Okay.
and he was a youth staff member. And then I had a couple of musician roommates, one from the Philippines, another one from Nicaragua. I had one from Mexico. I've had roommates from Russia and Ukraine. Um, and other Americans, of course, and some English roommates too. Because um, after that contract I did with Royal Caribbean, all the rest of the ships I did were UK based, which was awesome.
Mhm.
Spent a lot of time over in Europe, a little bit into Asia. I also did a contract that was all in Australia and New Zealand, but those were for British companies, mainly Cunard and P&O cruises. Um, and that's a completely different thing. I mean, the entertainment is totally different. The Cunard ships not only have an orchestra in the theater, but they have their own dedicated ballroom orchestra as well, playing strict tempo British ballroom every night.
They're considered a luxury line, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
next
never
dance will
sold
be
them.
a cha cha cha.
That's everyone's fancy. Yeah.
Your next dance will be a rumba.
So that's probably though very low key, I would guess. Like you don't have a lot of drama, I would imagine, on the upper class liners.
Not too much, although
No drink packages,
I mean, no,
maybe. Yeah, they're
not
just not
really.
gonna hammer it. They're not going for 14 drinks in a day, I guess, and ending up on TikTok.
No, this is not Carnival, although those companies are owned by Carnival. They don't
Yeah,
operate like Carnival.
it's so crazy whenever you like learn how many lines different, the primary cruise lines operate.
Right.
Um,
Carnival has the most. And Royal
yeah,
Caribbean is almost as big.
yeah,
And then Norwegian has 2 or 3 companies. But Carnival has like 16, 17 different brands, something like that.
it's wild.
Um, yeah, it is wild. And it's amazing how much cross pollination there is between all the companies too. Um, but yeah, it's kind of the cruise ship life is not for everyone. It can get very, very dark. What you have to imagine is this, especially most crew members are living in an inside cabin. That means you have no natural light.
Hmm.
That cabin is typically the size of your typical walk-in closet,
Yeah.
including the bathroom, and you are sharing that cabin with someone else. Um, Again, someone whom you've likely never met.
Hmm.
You are working for the most part 7 days a week for months on end. Now, as a musician, you got it good. I mean, you're working 4 or 5 hours a day at most. And, you can really go enjoy the ports during the day. But you
Hmm.
look at maybe a cabin steward. Cabin steward is working 14 hours a day because that's the legal limit.
Yeah.
And they rarely have time to get off the ship and they rarely have time to really enjoy themselves. Um, the deckhands, same thing. It's definitely a really interesting lifestyle. The crew bar is dirt cheap because they know that the crew's going to drink, and it actually ends up being one of the biggest sources of revenue for the company.
Wow. Yeah,
And
they need that relief. Yeah.
yep, and so does internet for the crew members because on most cruise lines you have to pay for it even as a crew member. I mean, you get it
Wow.
fairly inexpensive, but you've got to pay for it. I mean, there were times I was spending $500 a month on internet access.
Wow.
Yeah. Now
That's a lot.
I was making good money and I was well far from home, so I needed to stay in touch with people. So I paid
Yeah.
it, and I paid it
Hmm.
gladly. But some people, um, some people don't even end up paying for the internet access, and you'll find them in every port. There are certain people who oh yeah, let me follow this guy, and they'll take me to the good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so they just go and find a good place to get in touch. And then, I mean, and then like a cabin steward, though, who doesn't have time to get off and maybe they can't afford to get the internet package, they may not get to speak to their family very as often or very much at all,
Right.
throughout the time of their contract. And that could be tough, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And some of those people are doing 9, 10, 11 month contracts as well. Um, you
On
know,
on
I,
our on our on our magic sailing, I was asking some of these questions, and the guy mentioned that a lot of the security are British or ex-American, like military.
yeah,
And he's like, yeah, and their contracts are only like 3 to 6 months. And I start playing in my head, oh, that wouldn't be so bad or whatever. But then after like a few days, I just think, I don't know. Maybe if I'm in my 50s,
yeah.
something like that. But then do you want to be doing security in your 50s? I don't know.
No, and
And Disney cruise ship, maybe, pretty easy. Should be.
you would hope. Most of the
Yeah.
security folks I worked with were from Nepal,
Okay.
and a few from India, but
Yeah.
mainly Nepal, across all the ships I worked on. I did
Interesting.
contracts, ranging anywhere from that 7 month contract I started with all the way down to 2 weeks at a time.
Okay.
Um, those shorter contracts were often very, very last minute. There was one where I got a call saying, "Can you fly out tonight or tomorrow to Spain and go fill in on the ship for 2 weeks?" Because they ended up without a bass player because someone screwed up.
Hmm.
Okay, sure, pay me out the nose and I'll be there. And then
Yeah.
they were able to
They
negotiate the
do.
pay higher, and they did. It was great. Um,
That's cool. And you're off to, you're off to Spain at least for maybe a half day, right? And then you're just on the ship. Oops. Um,
Yep.
Must just totally destroyed my whole set. Um,
All good.
I have a fun setup here, but that's very fascinating. And so you, I assume, just kind of finished up doing that in the last few years.
I did my final cruise ship contract, ended at the beginning of September of 2019.
Okay.
I never, thankfully, I was not on ships during the pandemic. I had friends who were stranded on ships for months when the world
That'd be
first started
miserable.
shutting down. Yeah, it was
Yeah, that'd be
awful,
so miserable.
and
Mm,
without pay, no less.
wow.
Um, they made the bars free for everyone, but
I don't know if
um,
that's a good idea.
it's not.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I had friends, 6 months after I stopped working on ships, who were stranded for months at a time because they were not allowed to go home. And
Mm,
the ships were just out circling in the middle of the sea. They would dock every few weeks for provisions, and that was it. Um,
bonkers.
yeah, absolutely bonkers. I'm so glad to have been so far removed from that at this point. But
Yeah.
one of the other things I did for a while was I toured with 3 different Broadway shows.
Hmm.
Um, and actually, the last one I did, um, was the first national tour of a show called Bandstand. Bandstand won the Tony Award for Best Choreography, and it's a beautiful show. Has an unfortunate title because it is not based on Dick Clark's American Bandstand.
Okay.
It actually takes place about 20 years before that show hit the air.
Mm,
Um, so the title didn't really make sense. However, great show, beautiful music, amazing dancing, very heart wrenching script. But we were on the road. That tour ended up closing 3 months early because of the pandemic.
okay.
Um, so 3 months of salary was just gone like that. Guaranteed pay.
Yeah. Wow.
And they told us, oh yeah, probably 2 weeks. A few weeks later,
You'll be back in April. No worries.
exactly. Then April 15th of 2020, we get an email that we're not going back out. But yeah, it was quite the shock to the system. I was out of work for 13 and a half months. I've never been out of work like that. And I, for most of my young adult life, I was on the road 300 nights a year.
Wow.
I was in hotels or on ships 300 nights a year. That's why when I book hotels now,
I
I
was
have
gonna
my
say,
preferences. Yeah.
I was like, because whenever you had told me, like, you couldn't pay me to stay at one particular resort at Disney that I won't mention at this moment in time. I was like,
Caribbean
oh,
Beach.
it's one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm like, I love that place. You're like, yeah, the Skyliner's cool. Who cares? It's like, no, yeah, great case in point, because that you learn. I won't sleep on a cot. Like,
Right.
God forbid, I'd rather sleep on the ground. It's just like you get these experiences, and they're almost kind of like I don't want to say it's trauma inducing, but it creates a core memory that
Oh yeah.
you want to avoid. You learn what to avoid. I won't stay in a Motel 6. I stayed in a Motel 6 at Anaheim one time. That was a Disney Good Neighbor resort. Total piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to get it off the list. I was like, this place sucks, and it's still on the list. So don't
Because
stay there, folks.
they're paying to be on the list.
It's so bad. Oh my God, man.
That
Like, you have to rent a microwave. Like, get out of here.
I mean, that's literally all the good neighbor designation means, though. It means that they're
They're
paying.
paying.
Yeah. I mean, they're supposed to be accredited in some way, shape, or form. And I think we're stricter about them here in Florida than they are in California because Disneyland only has 3 on property hotels.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of tough.
well, and some of the off property ones are actually closer to the parks.
Yeah.
The Disneyland Hotel and the Pixar Place Hotel are a very substantial walk from the gates.
Yeah, I'm staying at Pixar one night on this trip that I'm about to do, and they just announced that they're shutting the monorail down for renovations, and like right before, I don't know, something like that, and it's just like, come on, man.
But
But
honestly, though, the monorail there is more of a ride than a real transportation system.
yeah, it's just for funsies.
Yeah, and it's awesome. But it lets you off in Tomorrowland, which is really cool.
Yeah,
But for Disneyland, you want to go through that main entrance too. I mean, it's iconic.
Yeah, the whole the promenade, right? Like
The
that just
Esplanade, yeah.
the Esplanade, yeah, that general area is just like walking into that space. You're just like, yeah, it's cool. It's very cool, and that's why I like to go to Disneyland. We've only been once, and this trip I'm doing solo with other travel agents, but
Right.
it's like it's a whole different gig, and I'm glad
Completely.
it's a whole different gig, and I hope that they don't try to mirror them up at all.
No, no,
You know, uh, we're diving off into some Disney talk, and that's totally fine with me.
we
But
should.
the new, yeah, like the new Cars space that's gonna be at Magic Kingdom, I was like,
It's gonna be totally different.
and I'm glad it's gonna be totally different. I was just like, but you got like a whole space out in
Yeah,
Anaheim,
I
and I'm
agree.
thinking it's cool to bring that, I guess, some kind of IP from it to Walt Disney World. But why kind of do an alternate of the ride you already have? Now you're gonna do this weird, I don't know, let's go off-roading.
Well,
Why? Like, I don't know. We'll see.
it looks like it's gonna be fun. And
Yeah.
Disney California Adventure is getting a completely different Avatar experience than what we have in Florida. Um, Theirs is gonna be based on Avatar: The Way of Water,
Mm,
and it looks incredible, and I really look forward to experiencing it.
yeah. No,
Um,
those Avatar rides are amazing.
oh yeah, Avatar: Flight of Passage. I had a couple weeks ago, my cousin Jake brought his wife and kids here to Orlando for the first time,
Mhm.
and they live in Los Angeles. They've been to Disneyland, although the youngest had not been. But
Okay.
I took him on Avatar: Flight of Passage, and it absolutely blew his mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely blew his mind because it's an incredible attraction. There's nothing quite like it anywhere.
I think the simulation of what you feel like your sensory, the way it plays on your feelings is just it's amazing. It's mind-blowing. It's hard to replicate that. Like in any ride you do, it's so hard. I mean, you have these I don't know what they typically call them, like at Universal, you have a lot of rides, everything's on a screen kind of
Right.
stuff. Um so it's a similar concept, but that ride does it 100 times better than what any other ride like that does. I mean, they had the Harry Potter rides, at
Yeah,
Universal are pretty amazing,
they are.
but there's they probably spent a lot more money, I would feel like, building those out because you're moving around and stuff. But yeah, Flight of Passage is amazing. The first time Hunter went on it, he hated it. It scared him and just freaked him out.
Yeah.
The second time he got a little more courage, he fell in love with it, and he's like, again, we gotta do it again. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
"Yeah, it's like a 3-day wait, buddy. We'll maybe later."
It's an
So,
awesome attraction. I love it.
yeah.
One of my favorites on property to this day. Um,
I just wish they'd keep the Pandora area open in the evening, and especially when summer comes, it's really hard. I mean, and I get the reasons why they don't, but, um,
well, you
it's
and I
so
have been.
cool. Right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's like when we met, like, we got to see it at night, and it was just like, it was, like, mind-blowing.
Absolutely mind blowing. I mean, and sometimes that park is open later in the day. Thankfully, they have been extending the hours recently
Yeah.
because Pandora in at night, I've never seen anything like it. Um, all the bioluminescent plants, all the lighting, the everything that glows on the paths,
Mhm.
everything. It's just absolutely awe inspiring.
And then the sound, and it
Yeah,
just there's much more of an effect at night when you can't see into the bushes at all, but you see all this other stuff.
yeah,
Um, I'm getting a weird Zoom thing. I'm like, "Why are you Zoom? Get off my laptop." But it's, yeah, a lot of fun, man, and that was a great time. So walking backward a little bit, so when I met you guys, how long had you been in that business? Because we met as travel agents, of course.
right.
How long had you been doing that? Were you pretty new into it also?
I was fairly new. Yeah, that was about a year in, I want to say. Not
Yeah.
quite a year actually. But that was a really cool event. Um,
That actually was a pretty good one. See how the one goes when I go to Disneyland. So it's only my second like Disney TA event.
yeah,
So I can compare them. But it was nice to have some of the people that came and spoke to us, and then some of the events that they had, especially there at Animal Kingdom. That evening, we got our dinner. We had, some,
yeah,
I guess, I don't really know. I guess they were in the travel department, for Walt Disney, right? Some of the cast members that were there.
yep,
I think our BDMs, maybe things like that.
exactly.
Um, And some of what I know now, I would have pegged them with many more questions
Absolutely.
because I do it all the time now. We have meetings with our BDMs and like Zoom calls, and it's really cool. But we're just like, why can't we get this? Why can't we get that? Why don't you send us this? Like, we need this, like
Well, and finally 2027 bookings just opened yesterday.
saw
So,
that. Yeah. So, and it's tough. I think people will complain about the prices always, but
yep.
to me, there's a price level for everybody. And that's what I tried to explain to some folks. Like, yeah, like you're gonna look and think like, yeah, it's pricey. I mean, the tickets are probably honestly the most pricey thing.
They are.
Um, but I'm not gonna get mad about that because I don't, for lack of a better term, I don't want Six Flags.
Right.
Hell, Six Flags is probably $90 a day anyway. But like,
It's more
you
than that.
want a quality place, and if you want quality, you're gonna pay for quality. You get what you pay for,
Right.
and
I mean, think of all the live entertainment, think of
yeah,
all the character experiences, think of how immersive all the parks are, right? I mean,
how
at a
clean
six
it is.
at a Six Flags, you could be up on a roller coaster and literally see into a parking lot.
Yeah, and then, have someone vomit on you. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, just
Yep.
the last time I was at a Six Flags, it's been a long time. And when I was a kid, we went to Astroworld here in Houston, and
Yeah.
it was solid. It was, the 80s, the early 90s, so it was solid. But they sold that and it's a parking lot now. They've never done anything else with it. And I know there's other Six Flags or whatnot, but the last one I went to was outside of Baltimore. And I'm traumatized from that day. It just trash
I
cans
mean,
are filling with bees. They're like, no, no.
I will say I used to go to Six Flags Great Adventure all the time. That's the one in New Jersey because
Okay.
they had some amazing roller coasters there.
Yeah.
Um, one of which they just tore down. Boo. But but because that was the closest, amusement park experience, really, the good one at least from where I was living
Mhm.
on Long Island. There was a tiny little place called Adventureland that my neighbors growing up owned, but
Cool.
Adventureland didn't have any real rides per se. I mean, they had a couple really small kiddie coasters, and that was it. Um, so Six Flags Great Adventure, if you wanted big rides and things like that, that was the place to do it. And at one point, they had a Batman stunt show, and they had, but nothing compares to Disney. I mean, I first went to Disneyland when I was 2.5,
Mm.
right? Because my uncle lives out in Los Angeles, and we went out for his wedding. And my parents took us to Disneyland, of course, because I was 2.5, my brother was 4 months old,
Why would you not?
and yeah, exactly. And my grandmother came with us. I mean, still have some very fond memories of that trip.
Planted
Um,
the seed. It's nice.
oh yeah, and we first came here to Walt Disney World when I was 7. My brother was 5. We stayed at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort,
Mm.
and that resort still holds a very special place in my heart, as it always will. It's incredible, especially the new Island Tower. But
Yeah.
I just walked through that resort a couple of weeks ago for the first time in a while, because I was at Magic Kingdom while some people were on spring break, and the lines for the monorail and the ferry were insane.
Yeah.
So I took the resort launch boat over to Disney's Polynesian Village Resort so I could walk back to my car at the Transportation and Ticket Center. By the way, if you're a local, the Transportation and Ticket Center will be the bane of your existence, and it will be why Magic Kingdom will be the park you go to least frequently.
Is it because of kind of the pain just to get to Magic Kingdom from
Yeah,
there, and also like, I
it
mean,
takes
paying for parking initially too, I guess, but everyone is, or
well, it takes at least an extra half hour, right? Because
yeah,
the Transportation and Ticket Center itself is a mile and a half away from the park. So when you put Magic Kingdom into your GPS, that's where it's going to take you, as it
yeah,
should. Because Walt wanted a grand reveal. He didn't want it to be like Disneyland where you could drive right up and park right there, right? So um, he intended for the first time you see the park to be from the water or from the monorail. Um, and I love it.
which
Um,
yeah, it's cool, yeah, and it is. That is. You're right. It's such a grand reveal. Like the moment you kind of crest around to where you can visually see it. I mean, you probably experience it though when you are riding the monorail and you're coming around. You'll hear
oh, yeah,
people the first time they've been there just like freak out. And
exactly.
I think that's cool.
It is. It's incredible. But,
Yeah.
you first have to park, and then you take a tram or walk from your car to the Transportation and Ticket Center itself, where you go through security. And then you have to get on either the monorail or the ferry to get over to the park itself. And it's a whole process. It takes, as I said, about an extra half hour.
Yeah, and if it's your first time, you're lost. I mean, there's no way around it. You're gonna be kind of lost. You're gonna walk up to like the wrong side of security, and someone's gonna be like, over here, folks," and you're
Yep.
just gonna be like disoriented. And and I don't think they do a bad job. It's just it's big, it's complicated. They have
It's
how many
yeah.
visitors every day? Like 50,000. I don't know, something
A
like that,
Magic
right?
Kingdom holds over 100,000.
So every day
Yeah.
there's gotta be, I mean, if they were at half capacity, it would be like 50,000 visitors, right?
Right, and it's usually a lot more than that.
So
Um,
it's yeah, you're handling a small town on a daily basis into this spot, and you're transporting all of them there. It's
yep,
pretty cool, a little
it's
efficient.
incredible. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, the way that Disney runs everything is mind blowing. I mean, the Walt Disney World itself is the size of San Francisco.
And whenever there's like a little problem, people tend to turn it into a mountain. And that
Yep,
always boggles me. I'm like, bro, like, do you realize how many people go, how busy they are? And everything's nonstop. I mean, everything always looks good. There's always going to be a cast member holding like 50 balloons somewhere nearby. There's going to be, I mean, everything's going to be in the place that you expect it to be.
yep,
And the quality is always going to be here. Cause if it goes down a little bit, everybody freaks out.
exactly.
So, yeah, like it meets your expectation. I think that's fair to say. Like,
Oh
so
yeah,
for the money that you pay to go, it's gonna meet your expectation. And if it's not, maybe you're just living with really ridiculous expectations,
right.
as a person walking in there. I don't know. And some people I'm sure do, um, have some it's like I think the people that maybe rent the like when they go on a cruise ship and they get like the very top of the line suite that costs as much as the house or something, and I
Yep.
always think like they wouldn't offer it if someone didn't buy it, if they didn't have the money to do it, I guess. And those people are probably hard to please, I would think.
Oh, definitely. But Disney has those types of guests as well. I mean, there are some suites at some of the deluxe resorts that will. I mean, the pricing will make you shit your pants, but it's
Yeah.
worth it. It is
Yeah.
absolutely worth it. And then, staying club level is worth it. Getting a VIP tour is well worth it, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I mean, and actually VIP tours can be added to packages again now, which is really cool
Yeah.
too.
So
Um,
did that was the thing they used to do, and they took it away and they brought it back?
yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that was went away with COVID. And so
Yeah, so folks out there, whenever you see this, and if you wanna get a booking, you can call me or you can
no,
call
no,
someone else.
no, 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 no. You call you, call
Yeah,
you,
call me first, and then we'll splice it out. But,
Jason with Wanderkeep Travel.
yeah, and so, yeah, when we do our Disneyland, I'm got that's the only reason I did the Pixar place. I got this really cool rate
Yeah,
for club level Pixar place, room, and it was just too hard to pass up, and then you see all these extras that you get, like, there's a special room, club level room that you can go to and have snacks all day and foods and
yep.
coffee and entertainment, um, and then rub elbows with other cool club level people, I guess.
I mean,
Um,
at that resort, they have Joe Gardner from Soul playing piano.
that's
How cool
crazy.
is that?
Yeah, like, how's that work?
He's
I
really
saw a
playing.
video of that and I was like, "Is that a animatronic?" It's a guy who's, like,
It's 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 him.
really, like, the basic character on, I guess, or they imported a guy named Joe Gardner, or did Disney create him?
Disney created him.
Should we not destroy the magic? Let me figure it out for myself when
Character
I go.
integrity. Character integrity. Um,
Are you real, buddy? As real as you,
yes,
pal.
he is. He's a real
Take it away
music
from
teacher
me.
from New York City.
That's cool.
Yes.
What a great movie too. Soul is like
One of my
that
favorites.
shot right up into my probably top 3, I think. I don't know, maybe top 5. It's hard. It's really hard to rate your favorite Disney movies.
I agree.
Zootopia 2 is like up there for Hunter and I right now because just it's solid.
Yeah.
Um
I mean,
it's
Soul is just so beautiful. And
yeah.
having grown up in New York as a jazz musician, the club on which the half note is based is the Village Vanguard. Village
Okay.
Vanguard is basically my second home.
Okay.
Every single Monday night since February 7th, 1966, one single band has played there.
Hmm.
Currently known as the Vanguard Jazz Orchestra, previously the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Orchestra. Um, there are members who have been in the band since the mid 70s.
Wow.
Um, best big band of all time. And from the time I was 14 all the way until I moved to Florida, basically, I went
Mm,
every single Monday when I was available.
that's cool.
So I've seen that band live well over 500 times.
Wow.
I've gone to see other bands in that club, of course, as well. It's the best jazz club in the world. It's been open since 1935. Um, and it's an acoustically perfect room. Um, and it's just the most incredible place to hear live music. But the shots of the half note, it's the Vanguard. And they even thanked the Vanguard in the credits. They went there um, to do research trips. It's the Vanguard. And
Wow.
um, so I felt like I was home when I was watching that movie. Um, it was absolutely beautiful.
Spoke to
Absolutely.
you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Something people don't get, I think, either, and I don't understand how they can, is like how some Disney movies can do that, or just moments like in the parks, or
absolutely.
shows you grew up with. Like if you grew up watching the Disney Channel, and when we could have it, we'd have it, and I'd watch some shows. But there's generational kids who grew up on certain shows on the Disney Channel. I
Yeah.
know they just had like a Disney Channel like celebration out at Disneyland in the
Yep.
last week or something like that. I was watching a streamer show some of that. I didn't know who any of those like who they were portraying or the performers were basically because it's not my gin, but it was some younger people's because they were packed. And I just thought that's cool, man. Like it speaks to you, it creates memories.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
that Disney Channel night is a lot of fun from what I've seen. Um,
yeah.
I mean, the Disneyland Resort in general is just incredible. I mean, the live entertainment there, especially, knocks anything we do here at Walt Disney World out of the water. Um,
Yeah, they do. That's kind of a mecca. I mean, they're I guess in the really the right spot
yep.
for that. And I noticed that the first time we went, I just thought like, wow, there's like the actors, they're hiring actors, people who really really want to be actors. I'm sure as cast members into some of those roles,
Oh yeah,
and
and the
yeah, just
musicians too. I mean, the musicians are the top LA studio musicians, but it's a really great full time gig with benefits. So who wouldn't
yeah,
take that? Um,
yeah,
I mean, I have some dear friends who work as musicians out at Disneyland and
okay,
have been there for well over a decade at this point, and it's a great way to make a great living. And then, it's only daytime, so they can take whatever gigs they want to in the evenings. They get lots of time off, so they can take whatever other gigs they want. It's fantastic. I mean, you look at Gordon Goodwin's Big Fat Band is one of the best big bands of all time as well. Gordon passed this past December, unfortunately, from cancer, but his band is still active. Um, Gordon also did a lot of work for Disney. He orchestrated and conducted both Incredibles movies and
mm,
Festival of the Lion King. He was the music producer for, and all kinds of other stuff. He wrote a lot of the charts that the Disneyland band does still too. But there are a lot of musicians who work at Disneyland who are all or who have worked at Disneyland who are also in Gordon's band. I mean, Wayne Bergeron, who's the best trumpet player in the world, actually, um, is the lead trumpet player in that band. He does the Oscars. He does every movie. He does everything. He was in the Disneyland band back in the day.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's the quality of players they get out there.
Yeah,
And there's just more live entertainment there, especially more live music. Um, we hardly have any at Walt Disney World anymore, especially instrumental music. Um, the only, I'm a bass player. The only full time bass chair on property isn't even all bass. It's tuba and electric bass, and
hmm.
it's in the Germany Pavilion in Epcot, the
Oh wow.
Oktoberfest Musikanten. Um, that is the only remaining full time bass chair on property.
Could you see them bringing back more live entertainment, or is it kind of a thing that's just gone by the wayside, and maybe the demand's not there, the families that come don't expect it, so they don't know it's not there?
The
Think it's
demand
some of
is
that?
absolutely there. The amount of people who have been quasi rioting to bring back the Grand Floridian Society Orchestra, for example.
Yeah.
But you look at Disneyland, the Disneyland band has seven more musicians than the Main Street Philharmonic, which is the equivalent in Magic Kingdom. Um,
Well,
the Walt Disney World used to have, I think, close to 350 full-time musicians on staff, if not more. Now there are like 40.
Wow.
And then there's a lot of seasonal and a lot of stuff that's gone third party, which is a great way to get people underpaid and not have benefits. But and I'm working with the musicians union on that. So
Yeah, no,
let's not
good.
go down that rabbit hole. But
Yeah.
but you look at how many live music acts there are at the Disneyland Resort, and the vast majority of those are in-house, full-time with benefits.
Hmm.
Um, and they make better pay than we have here in Florida because the cost of living in California is higher, as it should be.
And there's some California labor laws I think mixed in there too, which again we could open up a whole chapter, of
We could.
course.
We
But
could.
I mean, it's that's a thing because I thought about that before too when being out there was like, man, it'd be cool to live out here and work out here, but I wouldn't want to share an apartment with somebody just so I could work at Disneyland.
No.
But if they pay better, does it equate? Does it equate to your
Well,
cost of living?
and if you have the right job, you can do totally fine out there. Same with here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, there's some things, and this is again, we could open up a whole chapter on this, but it's something I think about too. Wherever I see with young people and where they're struggling to make ends meet and stuff is like, I don't think that's kind of a timeless tell, of like when
yeah,
you're young is like you're getting established, you're figuring things out, and you should be broke. If you're not broke, you're like really killing it, and so I think
agreed.
it's a real common thing, but now we get to voice it more often. Now, don't get me wrong, I think everybody's underpaid. Like, I think the
Agreed.
value for your time is like almost infinite. And so that's why I work where I do what I do is I stopped selling myself to, the places that I thought would be like, hey, that's a cool job. I want to work there. It's not. And then they're never going to pay you what your time's worth. And then you have a section of people who argue against that. And that's crazy to me. I'm like, you enjoy
Yep.
being poor, but so I feel like everybody's a little underpaid. But then you have this problem with the equation is if I pay you more, you're going to pay more for your cost of living, and it's just
Right.
like, got to break the wheel. I don't know, it's like it's a very complicated thing that's like way too much for me. I can't even get Chat GPT to figure it out with me. So it's such a struggle, but I think like they got to get a handle on that because again, I come to Magic Kingdom, I expect a certain quality of service, a level of for what I pay, I want the value out of that. And you have to hire people who are willing to give that value to the customer to
Absolutely.
say, like, I'm here, I understand the standard, and I'm going to work hard to do it and make sure they're paid equitably, that they don't give a shit, like you want them to give a shit. And
Yep.
so you have to pay people enough to give a shit.
I
And if
agree.
you're not, I mean, there's been times I've thought, man, what would it be like if everybody just didn't show up one day for work at a certain place and
Yep.
like, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they just close the doors and hire new people the next day. it's 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 a tough go, but that's getting really serious
It
on
is.
that side. But it's like it's kind of a serious thing though, and I hope that starts getting better. There's a new boss in town,
There is.
and hopefully he'll make some of those shoves. I mean, you got to please the board, the shareholders, yada yada, all that stuff, but a good leader can finagle and massage those things to look after his people.
I agree. I agree.
That's the
And
job. Yeah.
I have been in the same room as Josh Tomorrow on multiple occasions.
Hmm.
Um, one of the really cool things I get to do is play a lot of really cool, events at
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah.
And once I got to play the Disney Global Leadership Summit, which was in the World Showplace at Epcot. It was a really fine dinner. This was during the Bob Chapek era. Say what you will about him. I mean, I don't have kind things to say about him, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But he was the first person to walk into the room. And he was there. Josh was there. He was head of parks and resorts at the time. Kevin Feige from Marvel was there. Pete Docter from Pixar was there. Jennifer Lee from Disney Animation. Every high level executive, every arm of the company was there. And it was just incredibly cool to be in that room with them. I mean,
Sure.
I'm on stage, I'm playing with a killer jazz band, and literally right in front of me is Pete Docter or Josh or any one of them. But Josh is a very stand-up guy. He is very passionate about both guest and cast member experience. Um, so I'm excited to see where the company goes under his leadership.
Yeah, he comes off that way. He just does. He's always presented himself that way. And I mean, I think the dilemma for any CEO of a large company is balancing that hat of the the board and we got to turn profit. Um, and taking care of your employees, because your employees, just like so when being in the military is you have to take care of your soldiers if you want
Yeah.
them to do their job and do
Yep.
their job well. And it's just the same concept. I mean, I feel like that's such a basic tenet of leadership and managerial experiences or whatever that it blows my mind if I'm ever anywhere and a manager doesn't get it. I'm like, were
Yep.
you born yesterday? Did you fall into this position?
Yep.
It's just shocking sometimes, and you probably experienced it. And I would imagine even working on cruise ships, you'll experience people who you just wonder, like, how did you get to the place you're at? Because you have
Oh
no
yes.
business managing people. Um, yeah, and it can be a tough haul.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of people I've worked with who were along those lines. And thankfully, I don't work for those types of people anymore.
Yeah.
I value my own sanity and happiness a lot more than I value um, other things about my life.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm really lucky in my music career. I work for people who respect what I do, who are super professional, who pay me what I ask for. They pay me in a reasonable amount of time. And if they don't do that, I will not work for them again. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I will say there are three categories for any musician. It's like a triangle for musicians on whether or not you should accept a gig. Great music, great people, great pay, right? So I like to say that there are some cases, in most cases, I want all three, of course. But in some very rare cases, you can sacrifice one of the three if the other two are there and really, really strong. So sometimes I'll take a gig for a tiny bit less pay than I would normally accept because it's great music with great people.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's great people and great pay, but the music is terrible. And and that's musical prostitution. And those have been some of the best paying gigs I've ever had though.
Yeah. That's the irony. Yeah.
Yep. So sometimes you just got to do that. Now,
Yeah.
vast majority of the time though, I have all three of those categories fulfilled. And I'm very happy with that.
Oh, I
Um,
imagine.
yeah. Cutting toxic people out of my life and getting out of toxic situations has also been huge. Um,
Sure. Yeah.
there's a there's an employer I left about 2 years ago.
Hmm.
They have gone through almost every musician in town at this point. Almost everyone will not work for them
Wow.
anymore. I did a lot of work for them. I was one of their music directors. I was one of their arrangers. But the way they treated me was not acceptable.
Hmm.
So I got the hell out because I got to the point I was having a panic attack before every one of their gigs.
Yeah, that's no good.
No, no.
Yeah.
And so my life the past 2 years has been much happier
Sure. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
much.
No, it's you. However, I could ever express that to people is don't ex- don't accept that toxic environment from
Oh yeah.
anybody, anywhere. It's just not worth it. I mean, you'll have a short life if you accept that and you just think, oh, I guess that's the way it's supposed to be, and you'll ruin your own self esteem, your own self confidence. All these things will just take a hit,
Yep.
and then your talent, you'll just start to dwindle away, and your creativity and all that stuff will go away. So surrounding yourself by other creative types and like-minded individuals when it comes to whatever you want to produce, I think is really key to, finding some success in those avenues that you're targeting.
Oh yeah. And I'm at the point now where I don't take gigs anymore that would cause me any amount of stress.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I'm very fortunate that I don't have to.
Hmm.
Very, very incredibly fortunate.
Yeah,
But I'm glad to be at that place in my career.
Absolutely. And so, I learned this from you a while back that you have a published album that is on the various platforms. Like I do Apple
Yeah,
Music, and so I found it there, and I thought that was cool. Do you intend to publish more material in the near future that might find its way to those platforms?
definitely. Yep. I have a whole album written right now. Just have to record it.
Okay.
Um, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff. I have a new band here in Orlando called the Blue Theory Orchestra. We'll be having our debut performance this coming July 24th at the Blue Bamboo Center for the Arts in Winter Park. If you go to my website, the link for tickets is there. Um, and on all my socials. Definitely really excited about that. That is a 10-piece, we call it a little big band because a full big band is 18 players. That's really expensive. Now, I've had my own full big band since 2010 in New
Mhm.
York, and I do intend to continue to do things with that band. I just lose money on every show we do. So, but the Blue Theory Orchestra here in Orlando is a very exciting new project. Actually, if you look at my YouTube channel, we have a whole bunch of videos up there that we shot last May. And
I'll make sure I link those. We'll get together and send that stuff to me, and I'll link it. I'll link it in the details.
yes, in the show notes.
Yeah.
Um, yes, everything will be in the show notes, folks.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you look at my YouTube channel, there's some great video of that band. Very proud of that project. It's all original arrangements with the very best musicians here in town. And as I said earlier, there are some incredible musicians here in Orlando, and I'm really lucky to work with the very, very best. Really, really fortunate. Very, very lucky.
How do you find each other?
A lot of times it's just people I meet on other gigs. And sometimes if I need someone and I can't fill a chair, I'll ask for recommendations. For example, the baritone saxophonist who plays in that band just came very highly recommended to me by several people. And he's become one of my first call musicians now. But the rest of them were people I had worked with on other gigs. Cool thing is I work a lot as both a sideman and as a leader. So I work with different musicians all the time. I mean, there are a lot of gigs I'll do where I don't know anyone. Or where I know one or two people and then everyone else is new to me. I worked with a band this past Saturday where I knew the keyboardist and the trombonist, and then everyone else I had never met before.
Okay.
There are gigs I'll go on still to this day where I know nobody. And those can be some of the most fun gigs I do.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So, like playing music like that, I mean, is it are there a lot of common songs that you're just expected to know? So, like, if this band, a particular band you're playing with at a certain gig, it's like, do they let you know in advance this is the kind of music we play, or do they give you
Yep.
a set list so you know what to play coming in? And because I mean, I guess it would be really awkward if you're up there and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna play this," and you're like, "I don't know that song," and they're like, "Ah, get the hell out." I
Well,
mean,
it's any combination of those factors, right? So some bands will provide you with a full set list. On a jazz gig, a lot of the time you're just calling tunes because they're called standards for a reason, right? There are all these tunes that people just know, um, hundreds, if not thousands. So I have a repository of probably 2,000 different tunes in my head between jazz and top 40 and everything else.
wow.
Um, but also some gigs I do are sight reading gigs where they'll just put a book of charts in front of you, count it off, and you're going. That's actually a lot of what cruise ships are.
Okay.
Vast majority of the gigs on ships, like when a guest entertainer comes on, you're going to run the show down once during the day. And sometimes you don't even play through everything. And then you have the two shows that evening. And most
Mm.
likely you've never played with that entertainer before, and you've never seen those charts before. So I've made a huge chunk of my living sight reading. But yeah, a lot of gigs there's a good book of charts. So and they the bands have their arrangements that they work with, and that makes it a lot easier.
Okay.
A lot of the weddings and stuff like that, the top 40 gigs, you're just expected to know all the material.
Yeah.
Now, if there are special requests like a first dance, anything like that, the band will learn that for the gig. And you may run it at sound check, you may not, but you're expected to know the song cold.
How good does it feel when someone calls you out of the blue and they're like, "Hey, man, we have this thing going on. Can you come join us?"
Feels great. Really feels great. Especially if it's someone I've really been wanting to play with, which has been happening more and more lately. I've been getting a lot of the calls that I've been wanting for a long time.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working professionally in music since I was 14, right? And so I've had a I've got a ton of experience now. Um, I'll be 33 later this year, this summer. Um, so, but yeah, I've been working professionally now for 18 years, um, in every sort of situation. But every gig is different. I count
Mhm.
myself very lucky that I've gotten to play a lot of songs with their original artists. And that always brings me so much joy. One of my
I bet.
favorite artists to work with is Jay Siegel, who's the original singer of The Lion Sleeps Tonight,
Mm.
um, the Tokens. So he still performs with the Tokens. He still does that song in the original key from 65 years ago and still absolutely nails it. Um,
That's
he
amazing.
he also still brings an incredible energy to the stage, and the guy's in his 80s.
Mm.
I've played with Joey D, who did the Peppermint Twist, right?
Hmm.
Goes like this, the Peppermint Twist, and he's still jumping around. He's in his 80s.
That's crazy.
Original key. It's
Hmm.
incredible.
Yeah.
I've played with, as I said, a couple of the guys from the Temptations. I have the biggest grin on my face when I'm playing My Girl with Two Temptations, right?
I bet.
Think of how many times I have played that song in my career, probably thousands at this point.
Yeah.
And playing it with those guys, though, is the most rewarding thing.
Sure.
Um, it's incredible. Playing songs with their original artists, there is nothing like that. And then I've played with some of the biggest legends in jazz, and I've studied with a lot of them too. But I've gotten to perform with some of the biggest names, and it just brings so much joy.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
can only imagine.
yeah, it's incredible. There's nothing like it.
Well, very good. Do you ever see yourself going back out onto the road again?
Not full time, unless I'm making ridiculous money.
Yeah.
I mean, being married now and we've got two wonderful dogs and everything, I don't like being away from home anymore. Um,
Yep.
so you have to pay me ridiculous money to get me to go away from home for a long
So you
time.
hear that, folks? Pay attention.
And luckily, vast majority of the time, I get the money I ask for.
There is a floor. Yeah. We're not going under it. There's no basements here.
No, we don't have basements in Florida. The water table's too high.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, I think we'll wrap it up. Um, I've enjoyed learning more about you than I knew before we started talking. And that's what I always want to do here and stuff. Is there some things that you would like to add before we cut strings?
I think we've been quite exhaustive at this point. Um,
Yeah.
but
I what I think is that we're gonna have to have a Disney, like just a straight up Disney episode
yeah,
sometime,
anytime. Let me know.
because I think that's fun. And
Maybe do one live from Walt Disney
I
World.
mean, I just think it'd be fun. But this for me is always fun. And I hope for other people it's fun too to learn something about someone that maybe they've never seen or heard from before, but now they have, and maybe you get a few more listeners, and I think that would be outstanding too.
Absolutely. Well, I've had a blast. Thanks for having me.
For sure. So keep doing great things in the Orlando area. One of these days I'll get out to see you play live.
Oh, you will.
Crossing fingers. Yeah.
It's
I'll
a
be
matter
there
of
in
when now.
July.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be there in July. So
Are you here that last week of July by any chance?
no, it'll be the beginning of July. I made this decision, crazy as it is. I'm like, I want to be at Disney World for the 4th of July this year. It's America's 250th. And
It's
to
fun.
me, not to drag this out longer, but to me, Disney is America.
Yeah.
And I don't know what could be more American than that company, that corporation, but its brand and everything that falls under it. So if anybody wants to challenge me on that, we'll go. We'll go.
Well,
But
that's why we're getting a
that's where
new
I want to
version
be.
of Soren for this year, and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, there's so much to look forward to. And I will say the fireworks show they do at Magic Kingdom on 4th of July is spectacular.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be in the park July 3rd for Magic Kingdom because they'll do it 3rd, 4th, and 5th, right?
Just the 3rd and 4th
And
usually.
okay, so and I just because I feel like I'd imagine on the 4th Magic Kingdom is just like wall to wall, you
We've done
know?
it. We've done it before. It's great.
Yeah, I have a precipice, and we'll see if I go past it. But
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff, man. But yeah, again, thanks for coming on, and we'll catch up again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.